In the news this week, a top human rights lawyer says Scottish Government plans to ban conversion therapy are fundamentally illiberal. A veteran journalist takes death-dealing activists to task over calls to remove end-of-life protections. And universities are told not to restrict free speech in the name of equality. Hello. A leading human rights lawyer has said the Scottish Government's conversion therapy plans exceed Holyrood's devolved powers. The SNP-Green alliance is set to try and outlaw any activity deemed to be an attempt to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. And it has welcomed a series of recommendations for a new criminal offence put forward by its own advisory group. But following a devastating critique of the proposals in a legal opinion from Aidan O'Neill KC, the Christian Institute is now preparing the ground for legal action. Deputy Director for Public Affairs, Simon Calvert, explained why, as he warned that the Scottish Government is at risk of inflicting the most totalitarian conversion therapy ban in the world on the people of Scotland.
He uses some pretty strong language, really, for a King's Counsel. He says that the proposals that the Scottish Government's expert group recommended are illiberal. He says that they would have the undoubted effect of criminalising much mainstream pastoral work of churches. And he says that prayers and sermons could be criminalised. He talks about the impact on gender-critical feminists and their work and their beliefs. So it's a very strong opinion. And what he makes clear is it will be outside the power of the Scottish Parliament to do these things.
Staying in Scotland, 2/3 of Scottish voters oppose their government's radical gender self-ID plans, a new poll has revealed. The YouGov survey asked 1,090 over 16s whether they supported or opposed the proposals to make it much easier to change legal sex. Barely 1 in 5 favoured controversial measures to extend sex swaps to 16-year-olds, with 2/3 against the move. Currently, only adults can change legal sex. 60% of respondents said the bill should not remove the requirement for medical evidence, while 59% did not approve of reducing the 2-year waiting period for adults to 3 months. Holyrood is due to have its final vote on the fast-track bill next week, after Social Justice Secretary Shona Robeson rejected calls to delay the process. Legalising assisted suicide in England and Wales would usher in an era of inhuman death-dealing, a respected columnist has warned. Writing in The Times, Melanie Phillips railed against a deeply cynical campaign of those pushing for end-of-life safeguards to be removed. Euthanasia, or assisting someone to die, are euphemisms for killing them or helping them kill themselves. She contended that campaigners such as Dignity in Dying, formerly the Voluntary Euthanasia Society, were guilty of blurring the line between dying and killing. The legal barrier against euthanasia and assisted suicide is there for a purpose, and demolishing it would brutalise an entire society. Multiple campaigns to let terminally ill adults get help from doctors to kill themselves are currently being pursued across the British Isles. And finally, the university's watchdog has warned higher education staff they must not use equality law to silence free speech. The Office for Students published a briefing to highlight recent evidence on the issue and advised universities in their legal duties to protect free speech. Its chief executive, Susan Lapworth, warned that policies promoting one protected characteristic to the detriment of others may amount to unlawful discrimination. Too often we see universities not properly understanding that legal framing, and perhaps leaning more fully into the equality duties than we think that the law supports, and we are concerned that that is acting to curtail free speech in some circumstances. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.